Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. I'm going to show you the way that I use the free download that I'll have the link for down below to make some little images that could go with the story that I read today, The Gingerbread Man. Now you might be thinking, Patty Ann, my kids are, like first, second, third, fourth grades. They're not interested in this, but you know what? Think back when you were a little kid, maybe even a little girl in particular. I used to love to play school, and if my mom had made me these things so I could play school with them, I would have been in seventh heaven. So anyway, if you have a little kid, they'll probably love these. If you don't have a little kid, you have a little bit older kid, they may still like playing school and may like messing around with these. And one last thing, if you don't have a little kid and you don't have a little bit older kid, you can still learn from these tutorials because I show you how to do things that will be helpful in later times depending on what you're doing. So let's get started with this. So the first thing that I did was I went to this website and it's called Sarah J. Creations, and then I did a search here for the Gingerbread Man, and I found this page. And it's really, really cool. I love it. These are the things she has you make. And if you scroll way down to the bottom, you'll get where it finally says click to download. And I think that in order to download it, you will have to enter her little chart thing here pop up and then send my freebie and you'll get it in your mail. And once you get it in your mail and you open it up, it opens as a PDF just like this. So when I open it, it looks like this. It tells you to cut apart the cards on the next 2 pages. And then she uses a traditional version, and I'll show you which version I used again in just a moment. But the good thing about this is you can prompt your students in what comes next. What comes next? How did the story end? Da da da. Putting things in order, maybe telling the story themselves. Maybe they might even like to make up their own story. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about how to do it. So I have all this stuff, and it's the PDF. It's in my download folder. I will tell you this. I'm going to show you one other thing. In the story, the book that I used, there was a black and white cow. Notice this one is not black and white. It's brown and creamy color. So I don't want to really use him, and I don't need to use the horse either. But what I do need is another man who is the butcher. And I had to make a little knife for him to hold because he's the butcher with a knife. So let's go back to Silhouette. So these are the things I did. And this is the book that I actually read from, in case you want to get a screenshot of it. And these are what I made. So the first thing I did was this. I went to File, Open, and I came to that PDF, the gingerbread retelling cards that I downloaded from my email, and clicked on that to open it. Now, I've never seen this before, and maybe you haven't either. When I open this PDF, it says current page here, view as vector, group. I'm not sure exactly what group means, but I didn't need to use that today. So what I did do was I went up to the next page, page number 2, and I said I wanted to import it as an image, not as a vector, but as an image. And I changed the DPI from 72 to 300, so it's a good print when I use it. And I said import. And here they come in just like this. Perfect, right? And of course I can cut these easily by hand, but if I want to, I could go ahead and cut those with my machine as well. So all I have to do is get the knife tool and hold down my shift key and slice across here. I have apply automatically on, so it's going to apply that right away. I'll get the knife tool again. Notice up here it's solid, straight, auto apply. So I'm going to cut now between these. Hold down my shift key and do this. And one more time, get the knife tool. All of these things remain the same here. Take the knife and slice down there. Okay, now all of these should be individual ones just like that. It's perfect, just what I want. The only one that's going to be weird is this last one over here, because if you can see, it has an extra white part on it. So I'm going to knife or cut that off, get the knife tool again, hold down my Shift key, and that just makes my knife tool go straight instead of wonky. Cut that off. Okay, and I can delete that by highlighting it. Just hit delete on my keyboard. And there's some more junk around this. Get the knife tool, and again, hold down my shift and drag down and delete this. So these guys are ready to go actually, right? Let's open up that second one. Now it's going to open up in a totally different window because I'm going to say open. So I'll go to File, Open. Going to go to the same PDF, the Ginger Telling one. It wants to know which page do I want. The current page? Nope. Page 2? Nope. Page 3 is what I want, this one right here. I'm going to again import his image, change the DPI so it turns out to be a nice print. That means dots per inch, and the more dots per inch, the better your image will be. But 300 is just fine for this. So we'll say import, and I'll go to a new page. And I'll do the same thing again. Get the knife tool, slice across here, hold down my shift. Get the knife tool, again, just straight down here, and the knife, and straight down there. And these are all broken apart as well. But again, just like on the other one, we have some extra white here and some text and stuff on this one. So I'll get the knife tool again, and I could have done it while it was still together. Hold down my shift, drag, and delete this. Highlight it, delete, knife, drag, highlight, and delete. So there we are. We have everything we need, but like I said, there's a few things I don't need. So I'm just going to grab all of these right now, right-click and say Copy. This is a feature I like about this program too, as opposed to when I use my Cricut Design Space, because I can go back to this page and just paste these in here with those, just like that. So now I can see which ones do I need. I need the fox, the 3 fox images. I need the oven and the house. And I don't need this one because this isn't in this story. And I don't need the horse because he's not in this story. Okay, I need this, and I need this, and this. The 2 things I'm going to change a bit are these 2. So let me get rid of these 2 over here, delete. And I'm going to duplicate the man first. Hold down my Alt key and just duplicate him. And the easiest way that I've found to do this is to simply come up here to this effects panel and come to the color eye swatch and then just go over like this, and I can change him to having different colors on pretty well. It's kind of weird, but so you can make him have whatever color you want to have him. Okay, I like him like that. That's good. All right, so he's like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. I'm going to come over here to the trace area, select the trace area, and I'm going to trace him. Don't need his words. And I'm going to make the threshold high because I want him pretty much all colored in, because I'm going to say trace and detach. But it looks like I'm getting a little bit of junk down here that I don't really want to get. Yeah, I can move this up so I don't get that. There we go, much better. All right. Trace and detach. So that allows me to pull him out and get rid of this thing, delete. So let's scroll back out, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab on this one and duplicate it again by holding down my Alt key and dragging. And let's see, what shall I do? I think I will just bring him over. Whoops, I got to right click and bring him to the top or front, because he's going to fit right directly on top of that one. Now I can scroll in so I can see if I'm really getting him on top nicely with the little buggy tool. So I didn't have him on that great, so let's move him a little bit. Whoopsie. Undo. All right, let's move him. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Scroll back out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right here, the word old man, and I'm going to, I think I'll just change it to white. I'll get a box over here and come here. And I'm going to change this to white. And I'm going to make it so there's no line around it, like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the text tool and type in, what was he called? The old man, the butcher. So I'm going to type in B-U-T-C-H-E-R. And I'm just using Arial font. That seemed to work okay for me. I'm just going to make it down. I could make it so it's the same size as these. Whoopsie. Okay, that's more the same size. Like that. And I'm going to change its color to black by coming up here, change it to black. Just like that. And then the only other thing I have to do is I'm just going to grab all this and just say group. Like that. And there we go. If I want to, I notice this line down here. I can use my little knife tool and drag across here right close to that just to get rid of that if I want. And then I can pull it off and delete it. Okay. One other thing I need to do is give the butcher a knife. And to simply do that, just to represent the knife, I came down here again to the snipping tool and I said new. And what I did was, you know, the knife tool over here in our software, I just grabbed it just like that. And I said edit, copy, and came over here and said edit, paste. Now it's sort of tiny, so I could drag it bigger if I want to, depending on what I like. And now what I did was I just came over here to the trace tool, select the trace area, and I traced it. Made the threshold a little bit larger. And then said trace and detach. So there's this part that I can get. This I can get rid of. Delete. And this is, I'm going to group this together. And actually what I could do is move it together if I want to, but I'll just bring it over here and just put it in his hand as if he's holding that knife as the butcher. Then the only other thing I have to do is just go ahead and group it again. And now I'll continue on. Let's go back. Okay, so now we have the butcher and the cow and the old man. And a lot of these have little lines, which I could take my time to get rid of those if I wanted to, but you guys probably don't want to watch this video for that long. So I'll just get rid of a little bit. Delete. You might as well do the cow since I'm here. Knife, shift, drag across, drag it off. Oopsie. Click on this and delete it. Okay, so there we go. So we have those guys all, whoa, we have those guys all ready to go. And the pig is fine the way he is. Oh, but they're not all ready, right? Oops, go back. Gotta grab that and group it again since I messed with it. Group. Okay. The only thing is I gotta ungroup this and just group him, not the cow. Group. All right. Thing is, remember I said I wanted to make the cow black because that's what it says. He's a black and white cow. So for just in case I mess up, I'll make a duplicate by holding down Alt and dragging one off. And I'll scroll in. And what I found worked really well for me the last time I did it was I clicked on him and said copy. And then I went to a new workspace right up here by hitting the plus button. And I said paste. Okay, and then I just zoomed in a bit. So what I did do for him was this. I went ahead and came over here to the select the trace area, and I traced. And that looks like a pretty good trace, maybe a little bit too much. There we go, that looks better. I think maybe even a little less. No, I liked it like that. Okay, that looks good. So what I'm going to say now is trace, because I don't want to trace and detach. So I'm going to make these big parts on him white. But first I need to come up here to Object, release the compound path so I get all the little squares. And then I know I'm going to make that white, and I'm going to look at the one I've already done to try to follow it. So I made that white, hold down my Shift key, made his body white. And this little leg white if I can get it. Yep, and this little part of his leg white. Nope, didn't get it. Didn't get it. Didn't get it. There we go. Don't want that though. And I think that's pretty much all it was going to be white. So I'm going to come up here to the color swatch area and change that to white. It's hard to tell, but we'll figure it out shortly. Then I'm going to make his nose, hold down the shift, his other nostril, and all these little, oops, not that, all these little spots on him. I'm going to make black. Now, it might be a little easier to do those, to grab these, if I had colored it the way I usually do, that I've shown in my other tutorials. But we'll see if this works. These are all going to be black. Okay, here we go. And now his muzzle. Whoops, I am going to change this to pink or to gray because I think that'll help me, or maybe a light purple. Okay. Now I'm going to change his tongue right here. Tongue. Hold down my shift key and get the muzzle. Whoops, just the muzzle, not the whole thing. All right, so I'm going to get the muzzle. There we go. I'll just change it by itself to pink. And his little tongue right here, I'm going to change it to pink as well. And let's see, what else did I do? I made his little feet down here a dark brown. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna make those a dark brown, and I'm afraid I'm going to change the whole thing to dark brown, but I should be able to fix that pretty easily. So let me go on the outside of this whole thing again. There we go. Change that back to black. All right, there he is. All right, let's see, what else did I do? Oh, I changed these, his little ears. I'm going to scroll in. Maybe that will help. This little tiny part of his ear. There we go. And hold down my shift and get this little teeny tiny part of his ear. There we go. Change those to pink. And this up here is supposed to be a brown, a lightish color of brown. And his little horns, click. Hold down my shift key and click. So do the first horn first and scroll in further and get the second one. There we go. All right, let's scroll out and see how we're doing. Okay, he looks like he's just about done, except for, I'm going to get rid of this outline of this because I don't need it really. Not that. Undo. This little red outline right there. This one right there. Okay, and the last thing I have to do are his eyes. So I'm going to scroll in again, get this eye. Hold down my shift key and get this one. Okay. And you can make those any color you want to. I guess I'll make them black. And on mine, I think I even actually moved them a little further apart. And I didn't feel like I needed those little white dots that were in their eyes. But if you want them, you could use them. All right. And then I didn't use these little lines here either. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back out, grab all of him, and I'm going to come up here to the line color and make it all invisible. So there he is, just like that. Oh, I think I made this a prettier color though before. An orangey color, make him a little brighter. And I think I made the hooves darker, but that's okay. He works just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group all of him together. I'm going to go copy, and I'm going to go back to that first page I was using over here, not that one, this one with the cow where we had already been working, and I'm going to paste, and then I'm just going to move him right on top of this one and group them both together. So now we are done. We have every piece that we need. We have the old man. And what's next? Well, we have the house, then comes the old man, then the old lady, Then I think next comes maybe the butcher, and then the, oh, we don't need this cow. The black and white cow, the sow, and of course the gingerbread man came right in here, and so did the oven, and then the fox. First there's the fox, and then he eats them, and then he's all done. Or something like that. So I can get rid of this one. So the next thing I need to do is to grab all these and change my page setup, put on the registration marks, because these are print and cuts. And I want to change page setup, the media size, because I'm using letter size, or 8.5 by 11. So now I'm going to see how many of these I can fit on here. One other thing that's really handy to do is to turn on the cut border, right? So you know you're not going outside of it. So I could do the house, the old man, the old woman. Ah, okay, so I didn't resize these yet. So that is something that I did before. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this here and put this here. Actually, and I'm going to pile everything on top of this. This is an easy way to kind of make everything the same exact size. Although I never did make sure they were sized properly, exactly the same. So that's something that I did do on my set. I wanted to make sure that they were a nice set of cards. So I made sure each one's dimensions were the same. So I came to this one first, and maybe I made it 3.5 by 4 and I think I made them 4.25. Okay, so 3.5, this is what I did. 4.25. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Okay, then I hit enter. Did the same thing with every one of these, because they're all different sizes a little bit because of what I was doing with them. So that's what I would do first. The next thing I would do after I have them all resized, like I said, I would put 4 on here, and I would grab all of this stuff and resize those 4 down so that I know they're going to fit within the area I have to work. So since those resized, these were sized as well. So everything should be just perfect. So the other thing you have to do for Cricut Design Space, not Cricut Design Space, for Silhouette, just come up here to Send. And you will need to go ahead and grab all this and tell it to cut the edge. Okay. And okay, notice something here. Look at this. See, there's no line in between this. That means they're too close together. Let's go back. So if I drag this over here, well, you can surely see, right? You cannot see the gray through here, but you can elsewhere. So what I would do is I would take these and move them down a little bit, maybe up a little bit, down and down a little bit. Now I got to make sure that they're still going to fit. See how I can see gray on behind all of them now? So I didn't actually resize them. Okay, I think that's going to be just fine. Can move that up just a... You got to be careful because it's not the red line where it's cutting. It's that other line. Okay, let's see how that's going to work. This one needs to go in a little bit. But this is just something you putz with. So let's go to Send. Let's see if we got all the lines. Yep, now this time we do, oh, except for the side over here. So it must be over the edge a little bit. So I'd go back again to Design and move this over with the arrow key on my keyboard and try it again. Okay, that looks like that's just going to fit by the hair of its chinny chin. So I think we're good to go. So I would just go ahead and send this and I'd be done. Now, for Cricut Design Space, on the other hand, what I would probably do is move these apart like this so nobody's overlapping anybody else. Okay. The other thing that I would do, and this helps a lot, I think, I would grab all of these, move this one over a little bit. I would grab all of these and come up here to the line color and change it to a medium gray, maybe the first, second, third gray over, so that all have that outline. Then while those are all still selected, I would go to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive. I would save this to my hard drive as Gingerbread Man Characters. Whoops. For Cricut. Okay, and I would save it as a JPEG. And you'll only be able to do this if you have the business edition of the software. If you don't have the business edition, you won't see these options. So you need to use my link down below and go purchase one time only the business edition if you want to do this. So you go to JPEG, OK. Just leave these just like they are and say Save. Then open Cricut Design Space. Go to New, Upload, Upload an Image, Browse. Should be in my Downloads. Should be Gingerbread Character for Cricuts. There they are. Complex. Continue. Now watch this. I'm going to get the Select and Erase tool and I'm going to see how that works. Okay, that didn't work perfectly because look, it didn't work for the pig. So I'm going to say back, or yeah, I'll just go back. I'm going to say complex, continue. And remember, I've taught you this before. Go to use the Select and Erase tool and go to Advanced Options and change the tolerance maybe to an 8. And then try it and see how that works. Okay, it left them all alone. The pig is fine. Okay, all of these creatures look like they're going to be just fine now. So continue. Okay, but I'm not sure why that is like that. Oh, I know what happened, you guys. What you need to do, watch this. So when I'm in Silhouette, I need to make sure I'm not just saying Save As. I'm saying File, Save Selection, because all that did was save the images that were on my mat. I want to save everything I selected here. File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive, and I'll name it the same thing right here. Where is it? I'm going to change it to a JPEG, Gingerbread Characters for Cricut, and say OK. And yes, I want to override it and save. All right, so now watch this. When I try it again, I'm going to go back, or cancel this. I'm going to go to Upload, Upload an Image, Browse. I'm going to get the same thing, but remember, I fixed it this time. Open. So now we have all of them perfectly. Complex, continue. Again, the Select and Erase. Advanced Options, 16. I change it to an 8. Click here. And that leaves my beautiful offset around every single one of them. I can just go continue. This is what they're going to cut like, but we're going to save them as a print then cut because that's what you're going to do. Save. Okay, now if you try to bring these in and just go to print then cut, your machine's going to balk. You see this little thing right here? Because there's too many things in this one file. So all you have to do, it's too much for the print then cut space that we have. All you have to do is go to the shapes and get a square. Maybe, I don't really know if 6 will, how many will fit. We'll try this. Oops. Well, let's see. I know that we can do 6.25. I got to change this. 6.25. That'll work. Okay, that'll work just like that. So now I'm going to go grab both of these. What I was saying was I was seeing how big this square is, because for Cricut, the largest that you can do for print then cut is 6.75 by 9.25. And these dimensions are below that, so it will work. So now I'm going to grab 2 things, and only 2 things are selected over here in my layers panel. I can slice. So now I can get rid of this and get rid of that. And now it's going to work. Check it out. Make it. Going to print then cut these here and these here. And let me remind you of one last thing. Remember when you're wondering, well, what's going to cut for sure? How do I know the words aren't going to cut or it's not going to cut around the butcher? Remember I showed you just come down here to the blank canvas, come up here to where it says color, change your color to something else. Well, I'm not going to do red. Wait a minute, let me change that. Let's change it to something blue. There you go. And now you can easily see where it's going to cut. So that's it. It's as simple as this. I'll have right now linked for you the story if you want to make these for a child that you know. Or you could, this is simple to mail to some little kid, you know, and then give the mom the YouTube channel for the stories. Anyway, hope you like my videos. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and tell people. I'm having a lot of fun doing these stories, and I hope, you know, homeschoolers or anybody might appreciate them. So again, thanks for joining me. Bye, you guys.